we learned about like what kind of Java version and everything we should use and all, right? So we are pretty clear about it. And as a output of that session, I am expecting everyone to get JDK installed on their machine, right? You could install 11 or 17, whatever is fine with you. You can install that version, right? Now moving ahead for today, right? We have to understand a couple of things, right? So first of all, we would be talking about the some of the internal engineering, right, which happens inside Java, right, which makes possible, which makes your code execution possible. Okay, so we'll be just talking about like how how your code gets executed. Okay, gets executed in Java, right? We'll try to understand this part, right? We'll try to also understand the mechanism. There is an interview question, right, which people ask why Java is a platform independent language. Platform independent language. What does it really mean? Okay, platform independent language. What really it is about, right? And when regarding from the first question, right, this over here, we'll learn about the bytecode. Okay, we'll learn about the process of compilation and all. So we'll see like what really happens there, right? And why Java is a platform known. Again, try to answer this question. Now, after moving ahead, right, we will try to run a program. We'll try to run our run a first Java program, right? Okay. Until now, I have not shown how to install the IDE, but as of now, I'm skipping that part. Okay, I'm skipping that part because during today's class, we are not going to use an IDE. We are going to stick to the very basic things like Notepad. That's it. We will use a Notepad to run our program. Okay, that is the way which I learned. So I want you to also learn the same way, because then you will understand like the importance of the ID also. Okay, and you would be understanding that ID is just a mechanism, just a facilitator which helps you to do a lot of different things. But ideally, you don't even need it. You can just simply open up a notepad and start typing your code. Okay, so we'll try to learn from this. Run a Java program using Notepad. You will see how we can Notepad, TextPad, whatever you have, right? You can use it through it. Okay, so let's start. Okay, let's first start. Okay, is there anyone who is very new, who has never written a line of code in Java, or everyone is already familiar? Like, I mean, at least by writing any single program also in Java. Okay, seems like people are
Me. Okay.
okay. You don't
I'm not.
know. Okay, you have never worked with Java.
No.
Uh, okay,
I work with JavaScript and Python, but
okay,
Java
not
no.
with Java. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And you have installed the JDK on your machine now.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Okay. But since you're already aware about Python and JavaScript, right? So you're already aware about like how a normal programming language works, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So you're already aware about it. Okay, great.
Yes.
So again, in Java, right? Again, we are not going into every beat of details today, but we have to understand that there are classes. There is something called classes in Java, which is like your template, or I should say, you in a layman terms, right, you could understand like a class is like a file. It's like a file, right? It's like a file. You will create a file, and this the extension of this file would be .java. Okay, you will create such a file. Inside that file, you will create a class. Okay, and whatever you want to add as a logic, right, or a method or a function, right, whatever you name it, but whatever you name it, all of that, right, goes inside these classes only. Okay, so if you have to write a, let's say I'm giving you a logic to print your name, right? So how, let's say I want to print Akhil Jain, right? If you have to write some code, right, to print this, where will you write? You will first create a file, which would be, we'll talk about what should be the name of the file, but the extension of the file would be .java, and you will have to create a class, and inside that class, it's not that you will just start typing here system.out.println and then you will give Akhil Jain here. No, that is not how it will work. What you have to do is you will have to create a method here, right? So this will not work. You will have to create a method. Okay. So what you will do is, let's say, let me give it a name as method one, right? We'll talk about. So the complete thing would be like you have to give access modifier. You have to give it a written type. Let's say I say written type as void. Okay. Again, we'll talk about all of this. Okay. But and this is the name of the method. Okay. And over here, let me open, and these are the brackets, and then it's a curly braces. And inside these curly braces, you will add this logic, right? So what is required is you will have a file here with a .java extension. Inside that file, you will create a class, right? Again, this is a name here. You will have to provide a name. The name of this class and the file, right, has to be same. Okay, if they are not same, we'll talk about like what will happen. Okay, and what are the rules around it. But as of now, just consider that whatever name you provide here, it has to be same as your file name. Okay, and inside your class, you will create a method. You will create a method, and inside that method, you will add all your logic, whatever you want to write. Okay, so that is the structure, the basic structure which you have to remember as of now. Okay, so let's start creating it. Okay, let's start creating it. What I'll do is I will not be using any ID as of now. I will directly use the notepad. Okay, so for that, what I'll do is, let me write here workspace. That workspace. Okay. Now this is a empty directory as of now. Let me try to create a file. So what I'll do is, let me create one file. Okay, not from here. Let me just open this. Okay, over here, right? Let me save this file as, uh, let's say I'll give it a name as hello. Okay, save as uh, Java. Let me name it as hello. Okay, let me say Podtest. Okay, Podtest dot Java. Okay, uh, understand it is not PHP, it's .java, right? Now inside this file, I mean from here, we don't have to create a normal text file. You should select all types, and then your file can be created. Okay, it got saved. Podtest.java, right? Now let's create a class inside this. How do you create a class in Java? You have to write class, and you have to write Podtest, right? The same name, okay? The same name as your class, as your file name, right? Open the curly braces. These are curly braces, right? And inside this, we will create one method. Let's create that method. As of now, just understand that, okay, okay, as of now, I'll create this magic method. Okay, please remember I'm saying it as a magic method. Okay, why I'm saying this? This will get clear not today. It will not get clear today. It will get clear maybe in a week's time. But please keep that in mind that I'm saying this as a magic method. Okay, and why I'm saying this, I'll answer that part. But it will take some time, not today. Okay, so I open up the bracket for this method here. I closed it, and let me close the bracket for the classes also. Okay, now, and let me also add public here also. Okay, now this public and all, right, these are called access modifiers. These are access modifiers which help you to maintain, which help you to know like the visibility rules of a class, a method, a variable, right, around in your entire program. As of now, just understand it's access modifier. That's it. If you have to create a class, right, you have to use this keyword first, class, and then after this, you have to give the name of the class, right, whatever name you want to give. In my case, I'm giving this Podtest, and I have to make sure that the file which contains this also has the same name, Podtest, right? And over here, I'm creating a method here, right? Public static void main. Again, public, you understand, it's a access modifier. What is static? Static is a keyword coming from the Java language. What is the use of it? I'll come to that part, not today, in the future classes. What is void? The syntax, right? If you have to create a method, the syntax is you have to provide the access modifier. Then you have to provide what, if you can, if you want to provide a static, you can. Otherwise, you could skip this also, right? This is also fine for a normal method. But since it's a magic method, so I am using static here. Okay. I'll come to that part. But what is important, more important here is this thing, void. What this is the return type. Okay, this is the return type. It tells you like what your method, right? What if this method gets executed? If this method gets executed, what kind of output this method will return? Okay, so return type means what kind of output your method will return. So if your method, right, will not be returning anything, if it is not returning anything, you should be using void. Okay, you should be using void, and this is the name of the method. Okay, similar to how you were giving the name of a class, you have to give the name of the method also. Okay, so what is the syntax? What is the general syntax? Let me write it down again. So general
It means
syntax is,
instead of main, it can be any other name also, right?
yeah, in a for methods it can be anything, right? But since I'm saying it's a magic method, so you have to adhere to the thing which I've written there. Okay, as of now. Okay,
Okay.
I'll show you like how you create other methods also. Okay,
Okay.
right? But let me write it here, right? So I'm telling you the general syntax rule. Okay, as of now, right? This is not a complete list of rules, but just understand from because it's a day one. Now, if you have to create a class, what you should do is you should provide access modifier first of all. Okay. After access modifier, you should type class. And remember, this is case sensitive, right? C is small, it's not capital. Okay. And then you have to give the name of the class name, whatever name you want to give, right? You should give it. Ideally, the name of the class should follow, what do we say it as? Uh, I'm forgetting the name. So let's say I have to write two words, right? Let's say Podtest. These are two different words. So the starting letter of that word, right, should start from caps. I think it's called camel
Camel
case,
case,
right?
sir.
Camel case, right? Yes.
Camel case.
Camel case, right? I'm very bad in remembering names, so sorry for that. So that's why I wrote Podtest, right? You could also write small p t s t, right? This also works, right? But I mean, it's not that if you use this terminology, it will not work. It will work there also, but it is not a good practice. It's a anti guideline thing, right? Because as per the guidelines which are laid down, you should not be using whatever class you create, right? It should follow this kind of a nomenclature where every letter of your word, right, should be a caps. Okay. So from pod it is P is capital, test T is capital, right? So once you do it, you have to open up the braces and then close the braces, right? This is how your class will get created. So what I have done in my cases, I have written like this: public class and the name of the class, let's say Podtest. Okay, and then I opened up the braces and I am closing the braces, right? So this is the syntax for creating a class. Now inside this, right? One more thing. This is the name of the class. What is the name of the file? It has to be same only. Okay, it has to be same. As of now, just remember it has to be same. So whatever, so this file name, right? What I'll give the name as the file name here is, I will say it's a podtest.java. Okay. Okay, moving ahead. Public class podtest here, and then what I should do is the public class podtest here, and then let's create a method here, right? So for the syntax of method, the general rule is you have to give again access modifier, whatever access modifier is, right? And then you should give the return type, right? Return data type, right? Data type, and then the method name, whatever name you want to give. Okay, you have to give the method name there. Now this is the access modifier, return data type, and the method name. Now access modifier again public. As of now, just remember I gave the name as public here. Again, one more thing, methods are always inside the classes. Okay, so you have already created a class, you will get a method here. So let me give it an access modifier here, public. Okay, and let me give you the return type of the data type. Let's say as of now I have used void, right? There are other data types in Java like int, string, and all that, right? So based on what you expect to return from a method, you should provide here. And then you have to give the name of the method. In my case, let's say I'm using main, right? So this is the name. Then you open up the brackets here, right? These are the other brackets, right? These are not curly braces. And inside this, right, if you have to pass on any parameters, so you will pass here. Okay, let's say you want to accept some input from the user, right? When someone makes an invocation to this method, so you will have to define the or variable there. your parameters here. Let's say int a, right? So what will happen in this case is like whoever makes the invocation for the main method, right? Whenever they have to provide, they will have to make an invocation like this main, and they will have to provide a value. Let's say 5, because 5 is an integer value. If they try to do it as main and this, right, it will not work. It will throw an error. It will say compiler will complain that there is no magic method here. Okay, so if you have to accept some input from the user, you have to provide the data type and the variable name here, right? And since it's a void type, right, we do not have to use this return statement. In this case, it will not be used. But let's say it was not void, it was int, then return statement would have to be used, and you would have to return an integer value here. Let's say a only, right? Or let's say 5 here, right? Whatever that is. So that is, again, these are just the syntax rules just for the day one, right? We will improve on it. So as of now, we learned like how, what is your class file, right? How do you create a class? How do you create a method inside a class? And what is the general syntax around it, right? And the name of your file should match with your class name. Okay, so this is what we have learned till now. Okay. Hey, hi Sangeeta, hi Sugula. Is there anything which you want me to repeat since you joined late? Or you're okay with this explanation as of now? It's fine. Great. Okay. Okay, let's move ahead. Right. So what I've done here is I've created a class. Okay, this is my class, public class Podtest, and I've added a magic method which is not yet completed. Okay, now you can see this matches what I've said. Public class Podtest. We are creating a class following the same nomenclature, and inside the class we're trying to create a method which is this. And I'm saying, hey, this is a magic method as of now, right? We don't need to understand as of now why I'm calling it a magic method. It will take a week's time for you to understand this. Okay, but we'll reach it. Now, but it is still not a magic method. We have to add a couple of things more. So over here, I have to provide a parameter to this method. And what is that parameter? It would accept a string array, and I have to give a name to this array. Let's say args, right? Now my magic method syntax is getting completed. Okay, now inside this I will add one logic. I will say system.out.println. If you have to print something on the console, right, you should be using system.out.println. Okay, and over here you have to use double quotes if you have to print the message, right? So as of now I will print hello SDET. Okay, now every statement you write in the code, right, you should be using semicolon after this to mark its completion. Okay, and then save this file. Okay, now the file is saved. Now let's try to run this file, and let's see how to run this file also, right? Again, we are not using any ID or something. We are simply using a notepad, right? So how will we be able to do it? Okay, let's go back to this part here, right? Now in our case, right, in this case, see, yesterday we installed JDK, right? I told you we installed JDK, and as part of this, right, we also tried running the command, right, which was, let me run it from here. Let me open a new command prompt. So so my file, I've saved my file here, right? You can see it says it's a Java file, it's a bot test, and let me open the command prompt from this path. Okay, if I open this up, right, you can see Java full stack workspace, and let's how did we check the version yesterday? We said Java -version, right? And it was printing us this version, right? Now here, right, we are making use of the CLI, right, which Java has provided us. There are two CLIs here which you will be using. One is the JAVEC and another is Java. Okay, what is JAVEC in Java? Let's talk about it. Okay, again, you don't have to understand everything, but just for the sake of knowing this, let's cover this part. Okay, now we install JDK, right? I told you inside the JDK, right? If you want to design things, right, you would be using JDK only. Now, as part of it, right, what you got, you also got a compiler as part of this. Okay, you have got a compiler inside this as part of the installation of JDK. Now, what you have done is we have created a file called hello.java, right? Hello.java. So this is our file. Okay, this is our file. Now, in terms of the terminology, right? The right terminology is that this is our source code. Okay, this is our source code. Source code is something which is like the raw thing, right? Which we have written. So this is what we actually wrote. So we run these kind of files as or code as source code. So this is our source code. Now we have, since we are, it's a Java program, right, which you are wanting to use, we would be using JDK only, right, to run this. Now, what JDK installation is already done, right? So if you have to run this file, right, what you have to do is Java will not just start executing this file. Okay, no, it does not happen that way. What happens is Java needs to take this file first, right, and compile this file. It needs to compile this file, so it needs to go inside a compiler. Okay, it will go inside a compiler, right, and it will get compiled, right, and it will, and the output of this compiler thing, right, would be a dot class file. Okay, it will translate, it will compile your source code into a format of a file which has an extension dot class, and the name of the file would be same, hello, whatever name you provided, right? So it will provide you this output, which is this file, hello.class. Okay, and what do we term this code here? This is termed as bytecode. Okay, this is termed as bytecode. So the output of compiler in case of Java is termed as what? Bytecode. And what is the input for the compiler? It's a source code, right? Now, what is the name of the compiler which we use here? It is called Javik. Okay, Javik here. Now, how do you compile things here, right? How do you do a compilation? If you would use a ID or something, right, then you have to just click on run and the compilation steps happens automatically. So you don't have to. It is like it. You do not see that compilation happening, right? It's just that you see in the logs and it happens. So IDE takes care of the compilation part for you, which you think like it is not happening in the background, but it does happen there, and so that's why we are trying to understand it from the notepad first, right? So let's try to generate a bytecode first. Okay, so how do you generate a bytecode? Let me first show you the file. So you can see there is only one file as of now, Java file here, right? Let's try to generate our code, our compiled code. And again, we have seen like how the syntax looks like within this file. The syntax looks readable. It's in English format, and we all can understand this, right? Let's generate the file and let's see what gets generated now. So we will say javak, and we will run podtest. Podtest.java, right? Let's run this. You see, a new file got generated, and it's the name as podtest.class. Okay, this is our bytecode. Okay, why do we need to generate a bytecode? We'll get to that point. Okay, let's see the content of the file. If you open this up, let me open a notepad. So you see, it is very much readable, right? So we all can understand like what is written here, and it all makes sense, right? So okay. Okay, so
है पूरा वो नहीं हेलो जी दिख रहा है हाँ
okay. Okay, so this is the bytecode, right? And again, this is in Jerbish language, right, which we do not want to understand. And again, this is not for us. This is for the JVM. Okay, JVM needs to take this. Okay, and okay, but again, this is like an intermediary file before the actual execution. Okay, but this is how the content looks like. If you open it in a notepad like this, you will see like you cannot build any understanding from this, right? So let me close this file. Let's go back here. Podtest.class. Let's go back to our diagram also. So over here, right, what we have done till now is we started from here, right? Now, as now to run our program, right, the first step is that we have to compile it, and we used JavaC, and we gave the name of the hello.java here. And what it did was, because of this Java compiler, you can read it like Java. C stands for compiler, right? So Java compiler took this file and generated our bytecode, which is hello.class. Now what will happen is, this hello.class file, right, can be fed to our JVM. Okay, can be fed to our JVM. This is our JVM, right, which will now take this file, this bytecode, and then execute this, right? It will execute our code, right? And then this is where the execution will happen, right? This will execute our code, but you can understand, right? JVM is not directly running our file, right? Rather, it is running the bytecode. So this understanding has to be very, I mean, this is very very important, right, for us to understand how the execution is really happening. It is not directly on the Java file, it happens on the class file. So the compilation is a very important process for the execution of our code. Okay, now as part of this, right, we are here, we were able to run, we were able to reach to this part where we were able to generate the class file. Let's see how to run this class file and execute our code. Okay, so to run your file, right, you will have to use the CLI as Java and the name of the file. In this case, right, just specify hello. Okay, Java hello. Now Java will, again, this is a dot class file only, which Java needs to run. Okay, if you run this thing, right, it will just automatically run your code, and your output can be printed, right? But we do not have to specify dot class here. You can just avoid that and just write hello. But you have to understand, like, once you're doing this, right, it is inherently taking up the class file only to execute. So let's run this. So right, let's run this thing and we'll see the output. So what is the output we are expecting? Did we close the file? Yeah, we are expecting the output to be hello SDET, to be printed on the console. Okay, so let's write Java Podtest, right? Let's run this also. Let's see. It says error here, right? So you don't have to specify dot class, just use Podtest. Okay, and you can see the output. Okay, now it is saying hello SDET, right? That is the output which we were expecting from our code, right? Hello SDET. Okay, so this is how your code gets executed, right? In case of an ID, right, what you will do, you will write your code, and then you will just click on play button. Over there, what you have to understand, what will happen is, it will do the compilation also, and after the compilation it will also run the compiled code, right? It is doing both these steps by just clicking off that play button. But internally, it's a two-step process. Okay, and we should all understand this part. Now, why it's a two-step process? And we talked about that platform independent thing, right? let's get let's get to that understanding now, right? Why Java is a platform independent language, right? And how does this setup helps to answer this? Okay, let's move to the next slide. What First of all, let's understand what is platform and what is independent means there. Now platform could be like, let's say my machine is a Windows machine, right? Let's say, let's understand from the real use case, right? Let's say, I'm a developer who has a Windows machine, right? Who has a Windows machine, right? I'm working for Infosys, and they want me to write a code to, let's say, print something, right? So I wrote my code in Java, and I'm pretty good with it, right? So this is Windows machine. I used a Windows machine, right? So my platform is what? Windows. Now let's say, this code here, right, whatever I've written, right, this is not has to sit on my laptop only, right? This has to go on a server for the execution part. Now let's say this is a server, and this server over here is what? Is a Linux based system, right? It's a Linux based system. So what will happen is, this platform is what? Linux. It's not Windows. Okay, it's not Windows, it's Linux here. Now what will happen is, if you remember, right, what we did to work on Java, we performed the JDK installation, right? If you would remember, when we did the JDK installation, JDK asked us, like, for which platform are you trying to install, right? So we choose Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever our OS is, we choose it accordingly. So when you did the installation part of it, right? You did that, and now as part of it, what you got a compiler, right? You got a compiler. Let's say I decide on my machine, what I'm doing is I have a Windows. I would have installed a Windows JDK, right? This one, and here I would have got a compiler, and I also got a JVM here, right? As part of this, right? But these two are what? These are something which is specific to Windows. Let's say so both are Windows thing, right? Windows thing. Now what will happen is in case of Linux, this server here, right? So again, if this server has to run our code, right, it also needs it at least needs a JRE, right? If not JDK. But let's say that it also install JDK also, right? Maybe someone will also design or make some modification on the server itself. So let's say they install JDK. Now here, right, the JDK installation would be what? It would be about Linux, right? So your compiler will also be a Linux based, and your JVM, right, would also be Linux based, right? Right. This is how it will be. Now I wrote my code over here, right? And the compiler did the all the compilation, right? And it provided an output, right? Which is in the form of bytecode. So this is my bytecode which got generated. And if I try to run this using my JVM, it gets executed. Okay, it gets executed, which is fine. But let's say if I have to run this bytecode, right? Or let's say I have my source code here, right? I have my source code here. My source code here, right? So this is my source code. It went into the compiler, it generated bytecode, which went inside the JVM. And after this, the execution will happen, right? The execution will happen. Now, this works fine on my machine, but how can I make sure that a code written on Windows can work on Linux also, right? So for this, right, the answer is what happens is, right, when you did the compilation here, right, it's a duty of this compiler to generate a code which is understandable by any JVM. Okay, which is so the part is whatever the compilation, right, which has happened here, right, by the JDK, right? The job of the JDK is that whatever code it has generated here as part of the bytecode, if you provide it to Windows JVM, if you provide it to a JVM which is coming from Linux, if you are providing it to a JVM which is coming from let's say Mac, right? So all of them, right, would be able to execute this. Okay, so this bytecode, right, is a very important part in making Java a platform independent language. Platform independent language, right? Now what will happen in our cases, platform independent language, right? Now what will happen in our cases, we ran all our code, right, and we generated, let's say, bytecode, right, our compiled code. And what we'll do is we will package it and all that, right, and then we will ship it on the server. Now over here on the server, right, we already have the bytecode which is with us, right, and it can be picked up, and run by the JVM itself, right, directly by the JVM, right? So now it is of no concern, right? Your bytecode was already compiled by a compiler which was on Windows based, but the output made sure that the bytecode is executable on any platform now, right? And what happens here is, but here, right, you have to understand the JVM involved here, right, was a one for the Linux machine, right? So so how it is getting platform independent? You built a code on Windows and you're trying to run that code on a Linux machine. So that is why we're terming it as a platform independent language. So anyone can create their can use their own whatever platform they had on their they have with it. They can just use it to generate everything for them, and then ship it on to the client or to the server where you need to execute this. And over there, whatever JVM they would have, it would be easily able to comprehend it and run the execution. That's why in the complete thing, right, we are saying Java is a platform independent language. Okay, the independent part is coming from the process of generating the bytecode, the intermediary output, right, which becomes an input for JVMs, irrespective of the machine you are on. Okay, so this is the reason for the platform independent language part. Okay, let's move back. So we answered two questions, right? Okay. right? So we answered this query also, right? How your code gets executed in Java, right? And why Java is a platform independent language, right? And we also ran the first program on Java using the notepad, right? Let's do one more thing. Okay, let's do one more thing. Let's say that now what I want to do is, let me first close this. Okay, I've already closed this. Let me close this entire file, and let's make some modification here, right? Now you see, as of now, what I did to run this file, I just used Java thing, right? Java Podtest, right? And I have not provided any parameters here, right? Let's say after this. Okay, now let's say that I will run up this as okay, before running, right? Let me use that parameters. So what I'll do is I'll just modify this. I'll say Java hello SDET plus, let's say I'll be using the first parameter of it, arg0. Okay, and let me save this. If I save this and if I provide the output as Java Podtest Akhil, can someone tell me what should be the output now? Or if I say the complete thing, uh, if I write something like this, Java Podtest, and I give Akhil, then if I run this line now, what do you think should be the output of this thing now? Anyone?
Hello, SDET Akhil.
Hello, SDET Akhil, right? It will not print Jen. Yes, Ashok.
Yes.
It will not print Jen.
It will take Akhil as arcs of 0, Jane as arcs of 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. If I run this now, right, it will not get executed. Okay. It will still print hello estates as of now. Why it happened this way? Why it is not printing hello estate, Akhil? Why it is still printing the previous thing?
Because Akhil Jain is not reading in the program.
Okay. Akhil J is not reading in the program means, I mean
Because
at
we are
that point.
passing it as an input,
Huh?
but the program is not taking it because we have other classes to read from the command line and we can print it out.
Should we put it in brackets? Okay.
No, no, no. Uh, Coming back to Abhilash, right? Abhilash, so what are you suggesting? What should I do now to make it work?
Generally, we use scanner class, but
Scanner class?
uh,
No. See, okay. Do you see, like, I am trying to okay, I told you if you have to run your program, right, you need to compile, right? I made a
yes.
modification to my file. I did not compile it again. Right, everyone? I
Oh,
did not perform the compilation again. What is happening now is Java, when I run Java space Podtest, right? What is happening right now is it is trying to find a class file with podtest.class, but again, that is a class which was generated for the previous version of the code, right? So whatever the logic it had there, it is just printing that part, I mean, according to that output, according to that code, right? So in this case, we should have done what? After making the modification in our code, there is a need to recompile it. Okay. And you saw, like, if you did not recompile, what will happen is whatever code you had, whatever the compiled files you have, those will be picked up and those will be used, right? If you have any, if you have removed the class file or the compilation code, then it would just throw an error saying that you do not have a compilation file. Let's do that also. Let's just delete that file. Okay, I'll just delete this file. Delete. Okay, and let's try to run this. Let's see what happens now. Error, could not find or load class Podtest, right? You can see class not found exception, right? Because we do not have a compiled code right now. That is the reason. So let's try to again. So what is required is we have to recompile the code, right? So let's do javec podtest.java, right? If you run this, it will recompile, and now you will see the code available now, right? Podtest.class, right? And this is how it will look like. Again, the Jarvish value. But again, we don't need to go there. And if you run the code now, Java Podtest Akhiljan, the output, which I think Ashok was mentioning, right? That the output should be hello SDET Akhil, right?
Yes.
So it should be printing that value, right? Okay, let's run this. Correct, absolutely correct, right? People who did not understood why it is printing Akhil and not Akhiljan, right? You have to understand it is more about the arrays here, right? Over there in our code, right? If you would see, we are accepting an array of string, right? You can understand like a string is like a word, right? A word which you are who are not the people who are not familiar with Java. I'm just explaining for them. So a string is like your word, right? So if you write Akhil, Akhil is a one word which is a string, right? And Jan is another word, right? Which is another string. And in there's a concept of having an array. So okay, let me show. I think okay, it will become clear as we go ahead today itself. I'll try to explain you that part. Okay, but as of now, just understand
The syntax part I didn't understood. Y plus args.
this one. Okay. I think you will not understand as of now. I'll explain you. Okay, when once we go ahead, right, it will start making sense.
Okay.
But you have to understand here what is happening here is we are making use of arrays. Just remember this part. We are using what? We are using arrays here. And how do you identify that array is being used? If you see these brackets, right? These brackets, you have to understand that something is happening with respect to the arrays here. Okay. I'll come to the part when we'll talk about arrays and how to use them. But just remember our magic method here, right? Is accepting one parameter in the method, which is an array, which is of type array, right? A string array. Okay, just remember that part. This will start making more sense. Yeah, please.
We did not give any we did not give any comma or any kind of separator except for space, right? And so does that mean that if you give space like Akhil Jain as you gave in the input, does it mean that it's gonna split and automatically consider as
yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is how it is.
Okay.
That is how it is. It will take all the entire thing, right, and will split it with the space, which is the default delimiter here, and it will just split it into the two values. If I change this to Akhil plus, let's say, space, and I'll do args1, right? If I do this now, if I save this file and let me recompile it, to perform the recompilation, I will do, sorry, javec Podtest, right? Let me recompile it. Now it's recompiled. Let's do the output here. What is this? Yes, Java Podtest. You can see, right? It is now printing complete thing, Akhil Jain.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I'm just see. It's not that you have again people who are already using Selenium or Java, right? I'm sure they're not even using this magic method. They would not be using this main method. Okay. But for anyone who wants to program on Java, right? Who is learning with Java and everything, right? Without using any additional frameworks, if you have to stay with the Java part, you would be using this main method. This is your entry point into the program. I'll talk more about this, but as of now, just understand main method is your entry point. Okay. Or rather, let's understand this point. I think it would be very, very good for every one of us. Okay, let's understand. Let's say that I will comment this out. Okay, how do you add comments in your code in Java? If you have to add a single line comment, you should use this double slash, and you could add your message, and it will be skipped from the compilation, and you can add the comments like this. So you can say double slash, let's say it's my main method, magic main method. Okay, magic main method. Okay, and so this is like one line being commented. If you have to do a multi-line comment, right, what you should do is single slash asterisk, right? So this is like a starting point. So anything you placed after this, right, would all be commented. And once you're okay to finish that commenting part, so your in your ending part, right? You should do this, the ending asterisk and a slash after that. And so whatever you place inside this, right, would be all commented. Okay. So let's say I commented this magic method as of now, and let me create another method. Let me say public, public. Let's say, let me give it a name as int, and let's say sum. Okay. And here I would be accepting two inputs from the user, and I will say int a, int b. Again, people who do not understand what is int, what I'm doing here, just understand that I am accepting two inputs from the user. One is this input, another is this input, right? So they can provide this input here, and it should work, right? And let me add the logic here. I will say uh, let's say int c equals to a plus b. Okay. So again, this is very straightforward. We all be able to understand. We're just trying to sum up these numbers, and whatever is the output, let's say I'm printing that also. System dot out dot print ln, and I will say sum is c. Okay, sum is c, and what I'll do is return c here. Okay. Again, you can see if I don't you again, why I have to return this? I could have been good here also, right? By typing this, because here I'm getting the sum of the value, right? But why do I have to return? Why I have to use that return statement? Because I have used int here. Okay. I'm not using void. If you do not want to return anything, right, from the method, you should be using void, right? But since if you do this, we are all good. Your code will not complain, right? But if you are using something else here, like int, string, or something, right? So you will have to make sure that you need to use this statement as return, right? And after this, you have to provide a value which matches to this data type. So let's say I will return C here. So C is of what data type? C is of data type int, right? So you will have to return C here, or you could add any int value. Let's say 10, right? It is also fine. C is anyhow over here, right? C is anyhow holding what values? It will be doing A plus B, right? Let's say A was 5 and B was 6, so it will be doing 5 plus 6, which is 11. So C is holding a value of 11, which is data type what? Int. That's why you could type here C, right? So it should have worked. Now let's say, let me remove this and I say this C here, right? Now let's say that I have removed my magic method, right? And I have kept a new method, which is a custom method, which I've added inside my class. Let's try to compile this and then run it. Let's see what happens this time. So what I'll do is, again, the process is, I'll first compile this file. I'll say javec podtest dot java. So it got compiled, right? So no issues in the compilation, right? It will not complain. If it is your decision whether you want to keep that magic method or not, right? But Java compiler, everything which you have wrote is as per is synthetically correct, right? And as per the rules of Java. So it is not complaining, right? Let's try to run this code. Let's see what happens this time. So I will use, how do we do it? We say Java, and I will say Podtest, right? I just need to say this. Let's run this. Okay, you can see, right, the error. It says main method. Why it is scrolling down? Main method not found in class Podtest, right? Main method not found in class Podtest. Please define the main method as this, right? Or a Java FX application class must extend this. Okay, you can ignore this. We are not dealing with Java FX, so let's ignore that message. Okay, but we have to understand that it is complaining that we do not have this method here. Why does Java need this method? Okay, this is my code. Why Java needs to tell me that I need to have this line of code? Okay, let's
It's
understand
the
this part. Yes, sorry. Yeah, Fizullah?
It's entry point.
Yes, that is absolutely correct, and that is what. Let me just elaborate it further. But your answer is correct, right? Now, let's say let me create one more method here. Let's say public sum. Let's say minus here. Okay, I say minus, and I will do a minus b, and I will say c here, right? Whatever that is. So minus is this. Okay. Now understand that now I have two methods, right? This and this, right? And if I just give the name of the class here, right? If I just give here, what I'm doing is, do you see, like, I'm just saying Java Podtest. I'm just giving the file name, and I'm expecting my the Java to run my code, right? But try to understand here, right? Here I'm not saying which method to run. Okay. Here I'm not saying which method to run. I can have multiple methods within the same class, right? I'm not telling here which method to run. So it could even run the sum part also, it could run the minus part also, right? So Java does not know what to run. What you have to do here is, I mean, there should be a way which Java knows, right? Like, I mean, for Java, right, it has to know, like, which is my entry point, right? From where I have to start executing. Should I start from minus? Should I start executing this method? Okay. Or should I start using sum? See, you're getting my point, right? So Java as of now does not know which method to run, and all your logic resides in a method only. You cannot write your code like this, right? You cannot say system.out.println. This is incorrect. If I type this line, right, let's say Akhil Jain, let me write this. Let me try to compile this. You will get error on the compilation itself. Javek Podtest test.java. You will get the errors here itself, right? You see, it is complaining. Why it is complaining? Because you cannot add a single line of your logic outside your method. So the part is inside the class. If you have to write your logic, it has to be inside the method first, and you can have so many of such methods. So how does Java knows which method to execute, right? If you are just providing the name of the file, right, it does not know which is my starting point, right? Now who is executing our code? JVM is executing our code, right? If you go to the diagram here, you can see, right, JVM is the one which is executing our code, right? So JVM looks into your class file, right? Whatever your class file over there is, JVM looks into it, and then it sees, okay, I can see so many methods here, but which method should I go into and start executing? Okay, so again, you understand, right? So JVM will not be knowing which method to start executing on, right? So what JVM said, or the specification of Java said, is that if you want JVM to automatically start executing a program, right, please make sure that your class, right, whatever file you're providing, right, as an entry point, you should add a method with that signature, right, which is what? Public static void main and a string args as a parameter inside this, right? So what JVM does here is, JVM goes into your class file and tries to search for that method, which it already knows, right? That it looks for that method, that main method, right? And if it finds one, it starts executing that method, right? It starts executing that method, which is like main, right? So let's say JVM found the method main, right, inside the class, right? It will just invoke that method, right? So how do you invoke the method? You just use the name of the method, right? And then you just execute this, right? You just execute that method. This is how the execution will happen, right? So you can understand, JVM, right, just executes like this. It just invokes this method. Now inside your code, right, if you had public static void main, right, written public static void main, whatever that is, right? Now once this is getting executed, right, it will just point to this main here, right, over here. Now in our case, right, in the first case, I just provided Java Podtest, right, and I did not provided any arguments here, right? So it is like a space, an empty space, right? So this is getting provided here. So JVM, right, is providing that kind of an information while calling it, right? And since it is nothing here, so it is just printing that part. But as soon as I provided Akhil here, Akhil Jain, right? So what is happening here is, now this becomes an input while making an invocation. So it is providing Akhil and Jain as an array here, right? As an array here, right? As an array here, and that is where this is placed at the 0th position, and this is placed at the first position. Okay, and that is where it is getting passed. So who is receiving these values? Your string args, right? Your this thing, string args here inside your main method. If you remember this method, public static void main, right? What will happen is, in the earlier case, your main was blank, right? In the first case, your main was blank, right? It was not getting receiving anything. In the second case, you are providing an array with two values, Akhil and Jen. So you provided them, right? So it is being received. So if you access args0, args0 points to Akhil and args1 points to Jen there. Okay. So main method is your magic method, which becomes your entry point for JVM to start your execution. Okay. Sally, you want to ask something?
Oh, so just got unmuted.
Sorry. Okay. Nothing to ask, right? Okay.
Nothing. Mistakenly got unmuted.
Okay. 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 So this is how it is working currently, right? So again, remember why. So we got one answer, like why main method is very important for us, right? Main is your entry point, is the entry point for JVM to start doing the execution of your program. Okay, one thing should be very clear, right? What is, why do we need static, why do we need void, why do we need strings args? Again, we'll cover all of this in later classes, right? But this is how your execution works, right? You create your program, you compile this, you generate a bytecode, you provide it to a JVM, it start executing, and when JVM is executing, it looks for the main method. That's it. Okay. And why is Java platform independent language? We all talked about this, so we have the answer for that also, right? Okay, great. Let's move ahead and let's, okay, so I hope that you got the insight about like I mean, how to run your Java program even without using your any ID, right? But again, if you are trying to create, see, if you are trying to create a single program or two programs only, then working this way is fine. Okay, you can continue using Notepad and this, right? But creating a framework, right, and doing a lot of things inside this, this thing will not help, right? We need something which can help us in reducing our extra workload. We do not need to compile it every time, right? If the IntelliJ ID, right, which we'll be using, would be doing this for us. So, and there are plenty of other things which that ID will be providing. Okay, now let's install one of the IDs. Okay, so let's do that installation also today. Now again, first of all, I told you, right, you just need a tool where you could write your code. So we already explored a Notepad, and we understood like if you don't use an ID, like what are pros and cons around it. So one is this way. Second is that we'll be using an ID. Now for ID, right, people may have their own preferences. I'm not saying, or I'm not forcing anyone to use any specific tool. But for me, I'll be using IntelliJ. Okay, I'll be using IntelliJ because I think it is more advanced, it is more user friendly in the feel and in the way it works, right? And the alternative solution to the ID part here is like people, I think if people are using Eclipse, they can continue using it. But I have not used Eclipse for almost like 4 or 5 years now. So please don't expect like I would be knowing a lot about Eclipse. Okay, but IntelliJ, I've been using it regularly, so I know like how it works. But again, I would recommend, if people are all, I mean, if you are comfortable using Eclipse, please use that. But I would recommend that to you, please also explore this IntelliJ part, because you would find a lot of difference, right? What, how IntelliJ is more improved over Eclipse, right? I cannot detail it out, but you can just feel when you're working on it. Okay, so in my case, I'll be using IntelliJ. Now for the IntelliJ part also, there are two versions which are involved. Okay, so IntelliJ, I think it's a product name which is coming from a company called JetBrains. Okay, so we need IntelliJ here, and over here we have two versions. One is a paid version, which comes with the name as Ultimate Edition. Okay, Ultimate Edition, and another is open source, which you could use. which is, I should not say open source, it's free actually. It's free, and the name of the version is Community Edition. Okay, so this is the version which we have to use, not this one. Okay, we will be using this one. So let's do the installation for it. So for that, we'll do is, let's find it here. IntelliJ Community Edition download. Okay. Uh, is there anyone who has not installed this IntelliJ and who would like to install this on their machine? Because I already have the IntelliJ with me, I would rather ask that person to share the screen and let's follow these steps for the installation there. Is there anyone?
Is it possible to do it without installing JDK, which is pending yet?
Okay, let's do it. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, it will not be taken. It will not be. But your internet speed has to be good, right?
Yeah, it is good.
Okay, great. Let's start this. I think you must have the access to share the screen.
Yeah, I do have.
So let me stop sharing. Please share your screen. Okay, I can see your screen.
Okay. So
Let's search OpenJDK. OpenJDK 17. 17, yes, 17. Not this one, not this one. Go down. The below one. Let's use this one. Yeah, click on this. Scroll down. So over here, select the Java version which you need. Select all the drop downs. Yeah. JDK, right? And now scroll down. No, scroll up a bit. The topmost entry. Yeah, this one. We need a MSI file. Yeah, click on the MSI. Yeah, this one. So, and in the meanwhile, open a new tab. Here, search IntelliJ. Community Edition, the fourth option, right, in your drop down thing. Edition. Okay, click on the first link. Not this one. Go inside this. Let me show to everyone. Yeah, here you see, right, if you open this page, right, the download page, the first option you see here is ultimate thing, right? We don't need to install this. Scroll down. This is the paid one, right? You can see it is coming with just a free 30-day trial, right? So after 30 days it will start complaining and you will have to buy it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's not use this. Scroll down. This is the one which we need. Just scroll up. This one, IntelliJ, and click on download here. Yeah. So it start downloading, right? Now you already have OpenJDK. Let's make that thing. Open the folder. Okay, you open the file. Yeah, fine. Click on next. I accept. Yes, next. Install. You selected. Okay, yeah, great. Okay, finish. Now do one thing. Go to your PC. Let's open the environment variables. Yeah, from here. Right click on this. Yeah. No, not here. Right click on this PC itself. Right click here. Click on properties or show. Okay. Click on advanced system settings. Here, right? Do I have a marker? Yeah, here, right? Advanced system settings. Yes. Click on environment variables. The in the bottom here you see environment variables, right? Now inside the path, right? The path variable, the fifth variable. No. In the below section system variables, right? You see path here, right? Click on edit. Click on edit here. Now see the first entry, right here itself. The first entry is because you did the MSI installer, right? It automatically added the JDK path for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're done with this. Just click on OK. Click on OK. OK here again, and OK here though also, right? Now open up a command prompt. CMD. Yeah, open this. Type here Java space minus version. Just wait a second. Yeah, your Java is installed now. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's do the installation for this part. See if your download is done for community edition. Yes. Okay. Open the file. Yeah. Click next, and it is okay. Fine, right? Yeah. Move it. Okay. Here, create desktop shortcut. Click on this. We need a shortcut there. Update path variables. Click on add bin. Not this one. Okay. You see, update path variables. Add bin folder to the path, which is
Should I
fine.
uncheck this?
No, this is fine. Add open folder as project. Create associations. Click on that .java thing. Okay. And add bin folder. I think that you do not need. Do one thing. For the update. Okay, let it be. Just click on next now, and click on install. It should not take much time. It will take just a couple of minutes only.
Yeah.
So now we have two things with us. We have installed the JDK, and now we are installing the ID part also. And we'll try to create one project today. Okay, and see, we have already seen how to run a Java program using the CLI part, right? Using the Java and JavaC. We'll try to run the same program using this IntelliJ thing, and let's see what is the output we see. Okay. And from today onwards, right? Not from today, let's say from tomorrow onwards, I'll be creating a repo on I'll be creating on my side, and I will be giving the access to everyone. And whatever code we would be doing on a daily basis, I would be adding on the same repo, which would be for Java. And you can clone it, right? Or you could, I mean, you can since you will have the access to the as a collaborator, you can just clone it and create your own respective branches if you want to work from there, right? But what I would recommend everyone is create your own repository in your GitHub account, right? Use my code as a reference, and try to do things similarly on your repository also. Okay. Just a second. Community edition. I want to manually reboot later. Yes. Finish. Okay. Let's do one thing. Yeah. Just go to the desktop. You see this, right? Click on this. So I confirm. Continue. Just a second. Don't send. Click on don't send. Right. Now this is your starting window here, right? Now what you can do is click on new project. New project here, right? Click here. Okay. You have to use a Maven project. So what you will do is give it a name here. Give it a name here. Let's write a name as uh, Java demo. Let's say Java. No space. No space. Java demo. Right. And now in the location, change the location to the directory where you are comfortable with to add within your system. You should not add anything in the C drive. Let's add in a D drive somewhere where you think you can have a folder or something, or maybe E drive. I think D drive you're keeping all your drivers. So go to the E drive,
Yeah.
and here you can create your one folder here. Click on this. Yes, let's say full stack right here, full stack. Okay, okay, and click on OK here. Okay, and one more thing, in the build system, right? Use Maven. Yeah, click here. Now everyone see, right? JDK, right? You can see it is automatically detected, right? It is saying 17, right? Otherwise, see, IntelliJ did not knew like which version you will install, right? How does the IntelliJ is getting this value? It is reading it from your environment variables, okay? And that is one of the need, like the reason we had to add to the environment variables, because the other softwares which works on Java and all, right, they know that that they would be entering the path variable, and that is the place from where they can get the information about which Java version to use. So we add this, add sample code, generate code with onboarding tips. Okay, do one thing. Okay, let it be. Just this is fine. Click on create. We have not. Okay, it is not giving an option to select an archetype. Okay, let it be. We will generate ourselves. Okay, it generated a code for itself, right? Okay. It generated a code. Okay, great. Now let's do one thing. Go to the file main.java. Okay. Uh, I think okay. I think we're good, right? Let me now take this. Let me now show it on my screen. Okay. So, but you have the setup now, right? Now,
Yeah.
what I'll do is, okay, do one more thing. I think people can get confused. Do one thing. You see this main file, right? Yeah, there has to be annotation. Where is that whiteboard open jam? How can I use annotations here? Just a second. I cannot use. Okay. You see this main file, right? On the left hand side, you see the Java demo folder, right? The Java demo folder on the left hand side. Yeah, this one. And then below this, you see source main Java org.example and then a main file. This one, right? Do a right click on this. Right click on this and click on delete. You see delete here? Yeah, here. The 7th or 8th option. Yeah, here. Save delete. Yeah, okay. Delete this. Okay, now your file is gone. Close this format.xml file. The file with no on the right hand side, right? You see the format.xml file. Click on this. Now your file is closed, right? Now do one thing. Now your folder structure looks like it should be like mine one, right? Which I'll show you now. So you can stop sharing now. I'll share my screen.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Akhil.
Yeah, no worries. Share now, and let's do it on my machine now. Okay, so this is the IntelliJ. Again, if you already have a project, okay, I'm not sharing my screen yet. Just a second. Okay. In some time. Okay. Okay. This is an existing project which I had, but we need to create a new one, right? So what you can do is, people who want to create a new project, you have to go into the file, click on new, right? Click on new. My system is getting slow. New here, and click on project. Okay. Click on project. Now over here, right? You can see in my case, right? I'm not clicking on new project. I am selecting this Maven archetype. Okay. Even for you, Sally, right? We selected new project. Next time, when you will be creating a new project, right? Just select Maven archetype, right?
So this time we only selected new project, right? But we
yes,
also
we did this thing, right? We clicked on new project
Maven
and
was
we
selected
selected,
here. Yeah.
we selected Maven here, right? And all that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What I'm saying is, instead of going to new project, select this Maven archetype. Okay. And over here, let me provide the name as Java demo. Okay, the same thing which provided Java demo, and let's create it inside the self bootcamp full stack Java, and let's me add in the workspace full stack workspace. Okay, fine. Full stack workspace. This is fine here, and I will create a project here with name of Java demo. I still have 17. No, I have another SDK now, 17, right? Now everyone see here, right? I had multiple JDKs, right, on my machine, 11 and all that, right? And this is, I think, is speaking from the earlier version also. and I don't know like if I have removed the earlier version or not, but it is reading from the environment variable there. But again, I can add the one which I already have. So you can see this is the one, right? 17th one which I had. So let me use this one. So I'm using 17th version now. And here, right, in the archetype, right, I would suggest everyone just, I mean, use this one, Maven archetype quick start. Okay. Click on this. Version 1.1 is fine. And it gives, you can see, right, it is giving an option to create as a grid, as a Git repository. If I select this, what do you think what will happen? Anyone? We learned Git, right? So tell me, like, if I select this and it says create Git repository, what will do?
Git init.
Right. So it will, otherwise, if you don't, if you remain it unchecked, right, it will be like a normal folder in your directories there, right? But if you select this, right, it will also do a Git init and it will make your, I mean, it will start tracking your file. Okay. Which, so it is, again, see the power of the ID, right? It is giving an additional benefit to you. Do it on the fly, right? So let's do this. Let's say create Git repository, right? And what I'll do is over here, let me create this. Let me use this window only. Loading Java demo project. So you can see, since it's a Maven project, so Maven, whenever you will be generating a Maven project, right, you will see a file called bomb.xml. As of now, just ignore it and let this complete. It is creating, it is doing all the things, right? Once this gets completed in the lower bottom scroll bar, then we are good to go ahead. Okay. And let me just show you what is happening here. You can see I created a Java demo project, right? So this is here, and you can see .git here, right, being present. So this is happening since you selected create Git repository, right? It did the Git init by itself, and this is how the file look like, right? Now let's go back and let's see if no, it is still scanning the files to index. So let's wait, and we'll try to understand the folder structure there. Okay. Externally edit files can be edited to Git. Don't ask again. So there could be some annoying this dialog box being popping up, right? I mean, there and now, I would advise, if you are interested to go to read through those, it is your decision. But what you will find me doing it, I will just click on don't ask again and all that. Okay. So I think we are not good yet. Okay, it is indexing JDK 17. Okay, let's wait.
What is Maven?
I'll answer that. Not today. Okay, Maven is a build tool. We'll try to understand this. What is the Maven and all. But if you still want to learn this, right? Again, you already have a resources for it. As I showed yesterday, you can go to into our Java with Selenium course. Over there's a folder called Maven, where I have tried to detail it down from day one there, like all the basic things about Maven and what really a Maven is. So please, anyone who's also interested to know about Maven and all, please watch those videos. These are like 2 or 3 minutes videos, or a maximum 5-6 minutes videos. So those are not like this 1.5 or 2 hour videos. Every video in that folder, right, that courses folder, would be like maximum from 5 to 10 minutes of a video. Okay, which is covering a specific topic. So please, if anyone wants to learn about TestNG, Maven, locator strategy, Java or something, right, please go and refer those videos. And as part of this bootcamp, I'll cover it, but it will take some time, not today. Maybe a month after now, we will be covering Maven. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
Okay. So indexing JDK 17. Let it just finish. Okay, it is done from its side. Let's see the folder structure. Okay. If you expand this, right, you will see, you can ignore this .idea as of now. This is getting generated because we are using IntelliJ. So idea, I think, I don't know like what the complete name is. I think IntelliJ idea. That is the complete name, and it is generating that file. Okay, you can ignore it as of now. What is important for us is the source folder. Okay, now see the hierarchy of this. So within your main folder, which was your Java demo, which is your project name, right? Inside this, you will have a source folder. Inside your source folder, you will have two folders, main and test. Okay, if you ignore test as of now, just focus on main. expand the main, you will see that you have Java, you have org, you have example and app, right? Now, these are packages. Org and example are packages. What are packages? I'll come to that part. But and when you generated this project, right, using Maven, I mean using IntelliJ, it added this line for me, right? I don't need any of this. So what I'll do is I'll just right click on the org and delete this. Okay, I'll create my own packages and everything, right? We have not talked about packages, so I'm not adding any package as of now. So what I'll have is within main Java, I need to add my Java file, right? How do you add your first Java file? Go to the Java folder here, right click on it. You see a new option, right? Click on Java class. As soon as you click on Java class, right? See here, right? It is asking for a name of the class, right? The class. It is not asking the name of the file. Okay, it is not asking the name of the file. It is asking the name of a class. So what name did we provided there? Let's use that one only, since we want to replicate this. So we said Podtest, right? Let's use Podtest. So I'll say pod test here, right? And this is the class. Click on this and you will see a Podtest class being created. Okay, don't ask again and cancel. Okay, now here, right, you can see it says public class Podtest. See this code here. So let me do it this way, if this can be readable. Here, right, see this. This is the code which we generated when we were doing on the manual side, I mean through the notepad, right? Here we are doing it using IntelliJ. You can see I created a class and you can see automatically the name of the file, right? Here this displayed is what? Podtest. If you want to check what is happening inside the folder, right, go inside the folder and see here. This is the Java demo project. This is the same as here, right? Whatever you're seeing in here, right, this is all represented here in the Windows Explorer. So the path is mentioned here, right, on the top. It gives the path where this project is lying, E drive, Akil, and all that. And this is the Java demo path, right, which is this path. And inside this we have source, which is the source. Go inside the source, go inside the main, go inside the Java, go inside this, right? You can see here, right, Podtest Java file, right? So you created a class and IntelliJ created the file for you for that class with the same name, right? Okay, as of now we are matching what we did on the notepad, right? Now let's start adding our method here, right? So if we run public, first of all, right, I will not add the magic method. Let's add this method, right? Let's add this method and let's try to see if we can run this. We just copy pasted, right? I hope which is fine with everyone, right? We just copy pasted this, and over here if you save do a control S, you see you will not get an option to run this. Okay, if you would see the run button is disabled. Okay, because why it is disabled? Because you have not created a main method here. Okay, see the rules of Java will not be like different for an ID and for your notepad. It is still same, right? Your IntelliJ still is looking. Your IntelliJ, right, knows that you do not have a main method, so it knows that you cannot even run your program, right? Because JVM will look for the main method and you don't have it, so it is not giving you that play option also. Okay, but let's do one thing. Let's add up this method here, right? Our public static void main, and you will see the difference. You see this play button? It came automatically, right? And if you would see this button, right, these also got enabled, right? You see this got enabled. Why this got enabled? Because now you have a main method here. Because now IntelliJ is also okay, because JVM would be happy to see this method. Okay, now what we'll do is let's remove this method as of now. I don't need it as of now. I just wanted to show you this. So let's say hello. Let me remove all of this and just add hello SDET. Okay, and let's run this. To run your program, right, what you can do is just go to the main method, just run it from here. You could run it from here. Now see, and let me just change it. Okay, let's say I give it a different name, main2. If you save this, the play buttons are gone. You cannot run it. So it has to be this format only. Okay, that's why it is very important. That's why I'm saying it as a magic method. Okay, now you could, again, by just adding here, right, you are getting a play button on everything, here, right. Now let's run this. If you run it from here also, then what will happen is it will go and find a main method, it will run it there. If you run it from here, right, it is saying current file. If you can change it, you can change whatever you want, but as of now, just stick to what the things are. You can run it from here. Again, it will run the current file, and there it will try to find a main method which we already have. So it will run. So I will run from here. Okay, just touch it. There are 4 play buttons here, 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 and here. Okay. So from any place you run, right, this will execute. Let's run this. Let's see our output here. It is saying it is building, right? Let's wait. Let's say what happens. You see the output is hello estates, right? Similar to what we did from the notepad.
But is it taking much time than Notepad? Notepad was faster than this.
It will be much more faster actually. Okay, because there we had only one file, right? If you will start taking a lot of files there, right, it will be a mess for you to manage them. But
Yes, correct.
here again, the speed of your tools, right, depends on your machine, right? Mine machine is a bad one. It's not the latest one, so that's why it is taking a lot of other time. Okay, but I mean, whose machine is good, I think you will find that IntelliJ will, or any software, right, will not take that much time. Okay, so again, any doubt anyone has till this part on the Java thing, right, which we learned today? See, I'm trying my best to cover as basic as thing, because these are the basic building blocks, okay, of for this language. Once we are thorough with these basic building blocks, you will find yourself, you will not face any issue, okay, in the long run. So we are going slow, which I am okay with. I'm coming up with a disclaimer for this bootcamp that this is not going to be very fast paced. Okay, so you have to understand this part. Okay, and if there is any query, still any query on this, how things are working or not, let me know. On the process side, if you don't understand a particular keyword or something, you can ignore it as of now, since we have not discussed those keywords in depth. But the process should be clear, how your code is getting executed. You created a Java file which is being taken by the compiler, and see here, right, we did not run Java C, right, we did not do it. IntelliJ itself did it for us, right? When you clicked on the play button, right, it compiled the file, and it also ran that file. Let me show you, right, the compiled file again, right? In a normal run, that compiled file has to be generated first, and only then the execution can take place. So in this case also it is happening, right? Let me show you. You see this target folder, right? Let's expand this. So this is an output folder which gets generated after the run. Expand this. You see classes here. Expand this. You see this Podtest. This is that compile file. So all your compiled files will be placed inside the target folder. Okay, and this is your file which is being picked to do the execution from here. And let me show you one more thing. You remember, right, when I opened the podtest.class from the main folder, right, from the local folder there, the text inside this looked gibberish, right? It was not comprehensible for us. Let me show you the folder here also. If you would see this, this is a Java demo, and if I go inside main, let me go outside this source here, this source part. Here you can see the target folder. If you would go inside this classes, podtest.class, if you would open this in a notepad, again you will not find, you will find the gibberish code only, right, like this. But this is a normal notepad, right? It's a normal notepad. Here it is looking like this. Let me open this file in the IntelliJ. This is that file, right? Let me open this. You see, IntelliJ did the is still showing us the context. It is still showing the text which we can comprehend, right? And it is coming with a disclaimer. It is saying that it decompiled .class file, okay, so that we can understand what is inside this file. Okay, again, a feature which a tool like IntelliJ can provide, but not a normal notepad can provide this, right? So again, a benefit, right? So this is how it is, but you have to understand it is still that compiled file only, but just for R is it has decompiled it just to show that file. Otherwise, under the hood, it is still a compiled file as we saw there, right? In this case.